Hello everyone, REM here, and welcome back to another Draw and Discuss. Today we are talking about dinosaurs, but not in the way you typically think of them. The dinosaurs that are still alive today. Birds. Before we get too deep into the video, I know that there is quite the cast ensemble for today's drawing, so let me introduce everyone to you first. I'm going to introduce every species here like we were reading a book. So left to right, top to bottom. First, we have a great blue heron, and then, beside that, a harpy eagle. Beside that, a common loon. Back over on the left, we have a frigate bird, the bearded vulture, also known as the lammergeier or lammergeier, which means lamb thief, then a cassowary, then, of course, a rooster, a shoebill stork, and a Canada goose. And then finally, in the very front, we have a chickadee, a ruby-throated hummingbird, and a Gouldian finch. Back to the main theme of this video. Dinosaurs do still exist. This is not clickbait merely for the title. And I know most of you who are here on this channel probably already know that birds are technically dinosaurs, but it's still interesting to talk about and still worth a video on its own. All birds today, ranging from the flightless kiwi bird to the largest golden eagle, are considered Maniraptorian theropod dinosaurs. We know what theropod dinosaurs are. We've discussed so many over the course of this channel. Those are the bipedal or two-legged, carnivorous or omnivorous dinosaurs. More specifically though, all theropod dinosaurs are classified by two things: hollow bones and 3 toes on each foot. Does that sound pretty familiar? That is sounding pretty bird-like already. But just because a dinosaur was a theropod does not automatically mean it's in the same lineage as modern-day birds. So what about the Maniraptorian classification? Well, this is a group of theropod dinosaurs that include birds, but also non-avian dinosaurs, so dinosaurs that are not birds, but they are more closely related to birds than to other types of dinosaurs. That's a lot of connections to try to make in your mind, but once you hear examples of other Maniraptorian theropod dinosaurs, things start to click into place a lot better. Other members of this clade include Dromaeosauridae, which make up the brunt of the quote-unquote raptors, Troodontidae, like the Troodon, and Oviraptorosauria, which include animals like Oviraptor and Gigantoraptor. So now the similarities really start becoming clear. Birds are in the same clade of dinosaurs as, well, very bird-like dinosaurs. When we think of things like raptors, Troodon, Oviraptors, we think of animals that were likely feathered and may have even had structures that were very similar to clawed wings. So, while it's very fun to say that, well, chickens are descended from a T-Rex, it's not technically super true. They did share a common ancestor at some point in time, way back, but T-Rex, as a theropod dinosaur that was not part of the Maniraptorian clade, would have been in the non-direct lineage of modern-day birds. They were more like second or third removed cousins. Also, saying that birds evolved from dinosaurs creates a very linear depiction in many people's minds that isn't entirely accurate. The idea that a lot of people who are not necessarily super into dinosaurs, like we all are here, is that animals like T-Rex eventually, over time, started to get really small and feathery and teeny and tiny, and then we got birds, and that's how that happened. And that's not exactly true. This leads a lot of people to have a little bit of a misconception about this process, thinking it to be much more linear than it actually was. Like step 1, dinosaur. Step 2, feathered dinosaur. Step 3, bird. Or that the only types of dinosaurs that survived briefly after the mass extinction event were the feathered kind that eventually from there evolved into modern-day birds, leaving no more dinosaurs left. The truth is that early bird species, or avian dinosaurs, existed alongside non-avian dinosaurs of both the non-Maniraptorian and Maniraptorian variety. Now, of course, this doesn't mean you had chickadees and sparrows and robins and blue jays hopping around near a T-Rex. These early birds would have looked a lot different, definitely a lot more dinosaur-like, obviously, but they were birds nonetheless. Evolution is often incorrectly portrayed as a step-by-step linear process, where only one branch of the tree is existing and changing and progressing through evolution at any given time, and that is the ancestor that survives. Under that thinking, it's easy to see where these misconceptions around birds came from. If you consider the evolutionary tree as having one main branch that survives, it's easy to think of it as dinosaurs, bam, no more dinosaurs, bam, birds. But in reality, the evolutionary tree is a gnarled mess, with plenty of branches and twigs coming off of branches existing at the same time. Yes, one main lineage may survive longer, but the lineages that were pruned off beside them very well could have existed at the same time. For example, modern-day humans are one species, Homo erectus, but not too long ago, in terms of prehistory, there were multiple species of humans wandering around and even interbreeding. The most well-known example is the Neanderthal, and some humans today, myself included, have some level of Neanderthal DNA. I know that 23andMe is not the most accurate tool out there, but according to those results, I am around 2% Neanderthal, because other human species existed and interbred with one another. So, even though today there is one quote-unquote winning human species, Homo erectus, and one main branch left on that evolutionary tree, that doesn't mean it's the only branch that existed at the same time. It does not have to be a step-by-step process where we went from ancient ancestor to Neanderthal to Homo erectus. They can happen at the same time as separate branches of the same tree. Modern-day birds have exploded into an evolutionary variety to conquer pretty much every ecosystem on Earth. From a tiny ruby-throated hummingbird zipping around drinking nectar to the giant bearded vulture who eats only bones, by the way, these are all dinosaurs. And while some birds, like the shoebill stork and the cassowary, look more dinosaur-like, every bird is a dinosaur, even ones that you see every day, so much so that they've become commonplace and maybe even a little bit of a nuisance. You see a family of ducks at the pond, dinosaurs. Chased away from the pond by a goose, dinosaurs. Songbirds in the trees, dinosaurs. The seagull that snatched the french fries out of your hand, that was also a dinosaur. Dinosaurs exist in every facet of your everyday life. If you came home from school to find that your mom had cooked some lovely chicken for dinner, or if you're unfortunately an adult like myself and you have to do that on your own, well, you just ate a dinosaur. If the family's gathered around the table for Thanksgiving and there's a beautiful turkey for everyone to dig into, that's a dinosaur. We've just gotten so used to modern-day birds existing separately from their ancient ancestors that once you start to think about where dinosaurs exist today, it almost becomes overwhelming. So, as amazing as it is to look back on the past and think about the dinosaurs we have lost, the dinosaurs we will never see in person, and think about what they may have looked like, what they may have behaved like, I challenge you to go outside and observe the dinosaurs we still have today, because it shouldn't take you very long to find one. So head on outdoors, find some birds, and watch them, and you might see some behaviors that seem pretty dinosaur-like. Maybe it's the way a crow or even a pigeon struts across the sidewalk with its head bobbing, or the way two birds scrap over a piece of bread. Maybe it's the way they fight, the way they gang up on one another, even the way they attract mates. Birds are very much dinosaurs, and you can go outside right now and see one. So bring a little bit of mysticism and joy and mystery back into your life and go outside and find a dinosaur. And when you do, remember to smile.